Chapter 190. Part 2 of 6. I know you're in estrus too. Pinky whispered. There's a sexy hunk of a stallion right in my bathroom. C'mon, why are you trying to stop me? It's Nav. Rarity hissed. You know he isn't into mares. Every time I try to talk to him about dating Twilight, he immediately shuts me down. To be fair, I wouldn't date Twilight either. That's neither here nor there. You shouldn't be trying to snatch Twilight's prize. He won't be much of a prize if he never starts to think of ponies as possible partners, silly. You should have seen how he was acting earlier, before you arrived. He's actually been flirting with me. Maybe the reason he never thought of us as partners is because we never tried giving him a chance. He needs this, Rarity. He's been here so long, all alone, without any real physical contact. He barely lets us hug him, he hates my parties, he barely talks, and when he does, most of it's negative, and it's so obvious he's in pain. But now's our chance to wake him up, Rarity. Now's our chance to try and help him. He's a pony, like us. We need to show him that he's really one of us. Maybe we can convince him to stay like this. I don't like the idea of convincing him to stay. This body is torture for that poor colt. But, if he was flirting with you, perhaps he's warming up to us. Fine. We'll give him the choice. Her horn lit up and 2 roses appeared. We'll do Ponyville's traditional formal proposal. If he accepts, we soothe our estrus. Perhaps Twilight will thank us for teaching her prize more about how to please a mare. It's a win-win for every pony. Pinky said, grabbing the rose with a hoof. The vision faded, putting me back in the room with the spirits and ponies. Well, that makes me feel just about as conflicted as before, I said. Like I said, I knew they had good intentions. I didn't know Twilight staked her claim so early, though. What Rarity wanted for you and what Twilight actually felt might have been 2 very different things, Reason said. That's true. Rarity's a typical pony. Whatever she thinks is the best outcome becomes the truth to her, regardless of the actual facts. Twilight may have mentioned a crush, or Rarity might have just been completely imagining things in her psychosis. They hurt you, Navi, Pain said. They conspired together against you, knowing your aversions. That's not what I just heard, I said. Rarity had misgivings. Pinky was just reacting to my advances. Neither of them realized that the pheromones might be an issue until it was too late. I won't deny that I'm pissed that it happened, but I honestly don't know if I can keep blaming them for it. They did what they thought was best, what they thought I wanted. They destroyed your confidence, Pride said. They made a mistake, I butted in. A stupid mistake. A mistake they both absolutely regret and have apologized for more times than I can remember. This event hurt me. It broke me in ways I might not ever fully understand. But I'm tired of living with it hanging over me. I hopped off the bed and walked over to the 3 ponies on the floor. They were currently frozen in time, so I stared at Rarity for a few seconds before moving my gaze to Pinky. I told you both that I forgave you. I wanted to, for so long, but a part of me was always holding back, despite what I said. I'm finally ready to let go. This broke me, but I can mend. I can forgive. I can let go. I can move forward. You would so casually let go of your rage. Anger whispered. I looked around the room, but he hadn't actually appeared. That was a good thing, because her room wasn't all that large and it was already kinda crowded. What part of entering a coma that I might never escape from specifically to cleanse my mind and move forward screams casual to you? I ask. I knew I would be making tough choices. I'm prepared for the consequences of those decisions. This choice isn't casual. It's just a long time coming. I can't let the past haunt me forever, not when the people involved have changed for the better. I'm ready to move on. There's nothing left for me here. So be it, the guide said. Her eyes flashed and we disappeared. The next place we appeared was the palace at Canterlot. Celestia and I were just walking into the gardens. Looking at the awkward and somewhat scared expression on my face, I'd guess it was the day we first met. The guide nodded. This was, in fact, the first time you met, she said. Breakfast was your first conversation with Celestia. She took you to the gardens after, to begin measuring you. She wasn't the only one being judged, Reason said from behind me. I looked that way to find Twilight, Luna, and Taya standing together. You were rapidly forming your own opinions, weren't you? I was, I said. The mask she was wearing here did its job. After meeting her, I went home feeling good. I thought I was safe. Did you? Fear asked. You saw cracks in her mask. Those cracks worried you. You saw even more in Luna's mask. You hoped this was it, Taya said. You wanted this to be the end of your interactions with Celestia. She invited you back, but you hoped to never make the journey again. So I'm guessing your hope. I said. She nodded. Hey. Figured you'd be love. Maybe that's cadence, then. You're right, I did hope I never had to see Celestia again. I hoped she was on the up and up, but I had my doubts. You knew someone as ancient as her couldn't possibly have such an upbeat personality, Reason said. You suspected this was just a mask. I did, I said. At the time, I didn't know what was underneath it. But most of the stories Twilight told me conflicted with what I saw. The mare I met that day was delightful and pleasant. It was disguising something so disgusting and horrific that if I knew at the time, I probably wouldn't have been able to contain my fear. They dashed your hopes with a smile on their face, my fake daughter said. They slowly let you in, draining you little by little. This was where the first hooks began inserting themselves. Even back then, after you first met her, you were still suspicious of Luna's motives, Fear said. And you had every reason to be. Once again, her hoof pressed itself against my face. Celestia and Luna were in the anteroom of Celestia's bedchambers. I brought him as you ask, sister, Luna said. What did you make of him? His behavior is interesting. His manners certainly need work. He's extremely bitter, depressed, and lonely. He also has some amount of charm, when he chooses to use it. He seems clever, but not well trained. He thinks he hides his emotions well, but I was able to read him fairly easily. He mentioned his city holding millions. He mentioned a global market. And he wasn't lying, Celestia sighed. There is more to his past than flights of fancy, as Twilight seems to think. With only one intelligent race on their planet, they must have accomplished much. What strikes me are the similarities in our worlds, according to what he's told Twilight, Luna said. So much seems the same. He's obviously noticed it, too. I have a suspicion Nav is from somewhere closer than we first thought. It's entirely possible that Twilight found some manner of time spell that let her take something from the far future, where signs of our influence are still around but everyone has forgotten about us. If that is the case, it could be that his race is the one that wipes ours out. I've never heard of anything like him before, Luna said. There are intelligent prime apes in Africa, Celestia said. I'll send orders for my agents there to begin learning more about them. It's possible there's an undiscovered species somewhere that we haven't yet found. Perhaps that is why our expeditions far to the south have all failed, Luna said. And why so many parties we send into Africa never return. I have suspicions about the land south of us, but I have no idea what could be in Africa. There are a few nobles here in Canterlot I need to get rid of. I think I'll find an excuse to send some of them there, where they can do less harm and more good. In the meantime, what will we do about Navarone? Some of the things he said made me agree with your assessment. He is likely from a warrior culture that extols killing to at least some degree. He is yours to do with as you please, as long as you keep him in check. Excellent. I was hoping you would say that. I already have plans for how to make him mine. Don't be too hasty. Wait until after the gala. I will arrange for him to be there. Spend some time with him in a formal setting and see how he behaves. If it's too rough, he'll need to stay in Ponyville until Twilight can finish teaching him manners. As you command. How did you actually feel about him? Cautiously optimistic. I believe he could be of great use, if we can get around his rough edges. Luna smiled and shook her head. That isn't what I meant. What did you think about him? His personality? You told me to befriend him. Do you think you would do the same? It's possible. His perspective is a breath of fresh air, at the very least. I definitely plan to have more talks with him. Luna's grin deepened. I'm glad to know you approve. Now, I shall let you get some sleep. The memory faded away, leaving me staring at the other me and Celestia being surrounded by animals. Wow, I said, shaking my head. Just wow. And these memories are actually real. They are, the guide said. Brought to you by the link you share with Luna. How does this new revelation make you feel? Honestly? Kinda pissed. Where's anger? It's been a long time since you willingly summoned me, he said as he appeared. Yeah, well, that shit was fucked up. Don't give in to anger, Reason said. It may make you feel better, but you will solve nothing if you live your life in rage. Yeah, but when I mix my anger with my reason, that's when I get results. You two need to start getting along. I feel like I'll take considerably less shit if I start showing my anger more. I'm tired of having to avoid stepping on toes or offending people. I'm tired of all my behaviors being dictated by others. I'm tired of so very much, and this coma will be the end of all of it. Bringing all of you in balance is what that means. I can no longer pretend to be emotionless. I can no longer bury everything. Well said, Anger replied, clapping me on the shoulder. Stop hiding me. Show the whole world the power of your rage. Oh, I most definitely will, I said. I will turn Tartarus into a bloodbath the likes of which this world has never seen. I will cement my name in Equestria's legends. I will force the world into peace. I'm tired of being passive. It's time to be active. It's time to lead. I really hope you know what you're doing, Hope said. I made the backup for a reason. It's easy to be blindly confident when you have a safe state. And to be honest, I really can't make myself worse. So let's move on. My guide's eyes lit up and we vanished once more. Instead of appearing in another memory, we showed up in the glade. Something is changing, the Flow lookalike said. Shortly after you arrived, your body was mutilated. Things are growing back, but something new is in your mind. What do you mean, in my mind? I ask. Did Hera or Athena do something to me? No, this isn't an external influence. This is something growing inside you. Well, I am part plant. Is it having any kind of effect on me? I don't know. Well, nothing I can do about it from here. Shall we continue? As you wish. Her eyes flashed and we took off again. Our next stop was my first gala, which wasn't really too surprising. This is where Luna and I had our first kiss, I said, crossing my arms. In fact, she and Pony Me were in the process of walking back out into the maze. I sighed and followed. This is when you knew something was amiss, Reason said. You still hoped you could walk away clean, Hope said. But you had a feeling it wasn't going to happen, Fear sighed. Still though, kissing a princess did kinda make you feel pretty good, Pride said, chuckling. Can't deny that, I said. Though kissing a horse felt weird as fuck. At this point, I very heavily suspected she had a crush on me. I just tried denying it to myself and pretending otherwise because I really didn't want to deal with it. I didn't feel the same way and I didn't know how to tell her. I was also afraid to tell her. There's no telling what an ancient, possibly evil princess might do to one who spurns her advances, Fear said. It was really weird hearing Luna talking about herself like that. She seemed reasonable enough, Tyas said. You hoped she would realize you weren't worth it and leave you be. You knew there was no way it could ever end well, even if you were interested, Twilight said. You would be recreating the Beauty and the Beast. Don't call Luna a beast, I said. That's rude. You never even thought to capitalize on it, Pride said. You never even thought to try and make her yours. You could have been a prince. I thought horses were gross, especially after my experience with Rarity and Ponka. So what's the memory here? There are two, Fear said. I stopped and turned to them. She lifted her hoof up and poked me in the face. End of part 2.